Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Money Matters Top Tips for Success, where each and every day I bring on new business owners, entrepreneurs, and executives and have them share their top tips for success with you. My name is Adam Torres. You can follow me on Instagram at AskAdamTorres. Keep up with my book releases, book tour schedule, signings, all that other good stuff. Always love to connect with you there. And as always, if you'd like to apply to become a co-author of one of my upcoming books, just head on over to the website, moneymatterstoptips.com, and click on Become an Author to apply. All right, so today is a very special Reunion 2020 episode. What is that? That's where I bring on a guest I had on in the past, and I liked him so much, I just had to bring him right back on again. So today I have on the show John Bogdasarian, who is founder and president and CEO over at Promanas. John, welcome back to the show.
Adam, thanks for having me, man. Appreciate it.
Oh, man, I'm excited. I'm getting all my podcast buddies back. This is a great way to start the new year. And so I'm excited to get into your book. And also, you want to talk about life planning and life by design today. To talk a little bit more about your story. I'm excited to get into all that, of course. But I don't want to assume we got a bunch of new listeners on board now. The podcast has been growing like crazy. I don't want to assume they caught that first episode. So let's just start out by telling everybody a little bit more about what you're doing over at Promanas.
Yeah, sure. Without, going through a whole big history, we've essentially evolved into a private equity company, real estate investments only. We have around 400 accredited investors now that participate in deals that we put out. I think we have a few thousand on our potential investor list. And, the book I got out last year, finally, called Do the Work Once, Get Paid Forever, How Smart People Invest in Real Estate, is really a study of those 400 accredited investors. And it's really a testament to them because I sort of paid attention to, how they think and what they do. And I look at the ones that do the best, and I sort of took all that information, tried to put it in a book so that, if somebody's considering investing into a real estate deal in particular, this gives you a whole lot of information as to what I think is important to focus on and things like that.
And so what can the readers of this book expect to get out of it?
Well, I'll tell you, there's a few mistakes I made. One, I didn't put an acknowledgement section at the beginning and thank all the people that helped me get to where I am. So I'm excited about my second book that I'm going to put out where I can do more of that. But, mostly it's sort of what concentrates on what's the most important thing to focus on, I'm going to do a short thing on why to invest in real estate, how to find the right partner in real estate, starting out, different types of real estate you can invest in, what an accredited investor is, what it means, private placement memorandums, subscription agreements, things like that. But I try and keep it in real tight layman's terms and then explain to people this is not going to teach you how to evaluate a real estate deal in and of itself. Mm-hmm. It's going to teach you about the things you should be looking for and paying attention to, because there's no way, you as a physician or a business owner, restaurant owner, whatever you may do for a living, the proverbial you, are going to know what I know about investing in real estate since I've been at it for close to 30 years, So the reality is this is kind of a guideline as to what people could really kind of pay attention to and key things they should sort of look for if they're considering investing with someone in real estate.
That's awesome. And so let's switch up a bit. I do want to get into life planning and living by design. So let's talk about your plans for that.
Yeah. So this is something I've always wanted to do. And when I first started writing the first book, I had a great editor who was helping me, and he said, as we put the first draft together, he said, you really have two books here, and you're trying to do two things, and you need to split them and decide what you're going to do. And so we focused on, this first book as more of like a business tool and a way to help investors, that kind of thing. And really it's designed to have a conversation with investors that I happen to have all the time, but this sort of has it for me in a way. So it's kind of a glorified business card. It is an Amazon bestseller, which is cool, and it's so far only got 5-star reviews, but those are like probably my friends and employees. So we'll see. I'm looking for some negative feedback actually. But But the next one is really the other book that I was kind of trying to pack into one thing, which I tend to do, which is really about more, how to go from point A, B, C. I have a lot of conversations with, especially the kids of some of my investors, other people that I just know, college kids graduating, things like that, about how to sort of make their way in life. So this next book is kind of like that, and I'm excited about the first chapter where I can disclose that, basically I'm a complete idiot, and I've made more mistakes than I care to mention, and I'm so far from perfect, as flawed as I am, here I am, financially independent. I could have retired 5 years ago at 45 years old, and, so it is a financial book, but it's also, hopefully going to be like a pathway book. So we have these, it just has like a life plan, a 5-year life plan, and I give that to all my employees and people that come see me. I give them this copy of this 5-year life plan, which is kind of like a glorified Excel spreadsheet thing that I designed. And then, it's really about kind of goal setting, pathways, what to work for. You don't really work for money. That's not going to be very fulfilling at the end of the day. Things like that. There's so many of these kinds of books out there already. I've read so many different things, attended seminars, Tony Robbins stuff, virtually everything. So, with that said, this is kind of my unique way of saying, hey, here's how I got, to where I am and got through this. It's not really just my story. It's more, this is a conversation that I have with so many people, especially young people. And I think a lot of them are really, really misguided. The whole idea that you're going to rent your whole life and you never want to, own a house or at least a condominium or something and get it paid off, it's like, I don't know. So it's kind of like I'm an old man now, and I got to have this conversation, with my kids soon. They're 7 to age 13, and there's 4 of them. So, kind of it's for them. That's who's in my mind as I'm, sketching this stuff out. So that's the latest and greatest passion, other than the, 10 or 12 ground-up development deals we have going all over the U.S. and the 3 we're about to put out,
So, John, I like that you bring up the idea of these life plans, and I get what you're saying. You said, how millennials don't own homes or don't want to, or all the other things that you mentioned. One thing I would ask, though, in terms of overall planning and goal setting, because that's what a lot of this book's going to be about. Where do you find real estate aside? Where do you find a lot of the younger entrepreneurs and or business owners can really benefit from reading the book and getting a feel for your background?
The current book, or you mean this potential new one I'm working on?
No, the new one, Life Planning and Living by Design. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I give like talks and seminars on this kind of thing, and it to like groups of people, and it's it's interesting. I mostly it just has to get done is the thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's sort of, I don't care if you're buying real estate, you're investing in the stock market, you're buying a home. What I like about a home is that, especially if you're younger starting out, it's just a forced savings account. It takes a lot of effort to go refinance a house and pull equity out and, that kind of thing. It's easier to just set it and forget it. And then you wake up one day and you're like, wow, especially if you can put it on a 15-year or something like that, you own it and you get a place to live. And so, it's the same thing with, there's a lot of advice in there about, like, I really don't focus on worrying about whether I'm going to get a 6% return or an 8% return or whatever. What I'm interested in is saying, look, take 20% and put it away, or take 10% and put it away and take 10% and give it away. Whatever your standards are, set some reasonable small goal and get it done and just put it on autopilot so you don't have to think about it. Most of the people I'm dealing with have a lot of debt. So the first thing is a program to get them out of debt. And that's very much a, who's the guy, kind of Dave Ramsey approach, Just start small, get rid of the one that's small, then move to the next one, pile the money to that, get rid of that. Paying off debt's not fun, you know. We've all done it. We've all been there. We've all bought things and then paid for them later. It's been a long time since I've done that, but it's, you know, it's miserable because usually whatever it is you bought, and my CFO and one of my very best friends was pointing out to me the other day, he said, gosh, you know, had I just bought Apple stock instead of buying iPads and iPods and, you know, he bought all the first, like, whatever those things were to come out. I think they were like the, remember those little, like, things that held like 50 songs on them?
Yep. iPod.
Whatever that was. I had those. Yeah, iPod, whatever it was. And it was like, you know, those things were like $300-400. He actually is so detail oriented. He went back and calculated like how much he spent on these things over the years, and he'd have like $3.5 million worth of Apple stock right now had he not spent like, you know, $5,000 on Apple products over the years. I mean, it's a joke. It's so stupid. We're all such massive consumers, and we don't stop and think, like, wait a minute, you know. So there's that, and you know, it's like I say, that one's in the works. But in terms of what I, you know, preach, I guess, when I talk to people is just kind of what I did was I said, look, you know, for me, I was like, well, I'm going to put away 50% of what I make. If I can't live on 50%, then I better either cut my lifestyle or go find a way to make more money and do more, you know, business so that I can take 50% of what I make after the government takes their 50%, of course. So,
and
you
so,
know,
John, if somebody is listening to this and they want more information on Promanas or on your book, what's the best way for them to do that?
Probably the best place is just to shoot an email to ir@promanas.com, you know, for investor relations, just ir@promanas.com. I mean, if they're interested in investment deals or anything, it doesn't matter. Just reference it. That email gets handled pretty well, and then I get forwarded messages about specific things and can respond accordingly. That's the best place.
Awesome. And, well, hey, John, really been great catching up with you and doing this reunion episode. Can't wait to hear and see when the next book comes out. You have to ping me. I'll definitely get you back on the show to talk about that. Happy to do that. And to the audience, as always, thank you for tuning in. Hope you got a lot of value out of this. If you did, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast. Leave a review on the Apple iTunes store. Leave us some comments in the YouTube section. So we just launched that YouTube channel this year. If you're watching this or listening to this on YouTube, then leave us some comments. Love to hear your thought process on what's going on in real estate and whether and owning a home. So all great stuff there. And John, thanks again for coming on the show.
Hey, Adam, it's always good to talk to you, bro. Talk to you soon, man.